So I'm not one to usually fall for clickbait, especially not dirt cheap products that seem too good to be true. I think we all know the saying by now, don't we? But this time I simply couldn't resist because the product was pretty left field. Because what we supposedly have in here is a £20 carbon fibre watch by North Edge. And we have some nice Comic Sans text underneath there to break all boundaries. Let's hope the product itself doesn't break because, you know, I only spent 20 quid on this. And yeah, in the product description, it just straight up says carbon fibre. And then it even goes on to say that that makes it 6 times lighter than steel and even 3 times lighter than titanium. So, I mean, it's going to feel really cheap either way. But yeah, let's take a look. Let's see if I've been scammed with this one. Maybe it is just plastic or something. Now, I have seen some YouTubers talk about this watch before, but only ever with screen recordings of the listing up. I haven't really seen anyone try it, and figured I would be that mug, why not? And well, it certainly is very, very light. And here we have it, the North Edge Alps, I think they're calling this, you know, like the mountain range. And first impressions outside of the weight are, well, that display is not the best, is it? I mean, this watch is cheap, but, you know, Casios are cheap, and the Casios definitely have a better display than this. Does this have a film over it? Maybe it'll get a bit clearer once that's gone. Maybe a tiny bit better. I'll link this watch in the video description in case you want to take the plunge like me. Now, the top piece of this is not carbon fibre, definitely not. The case may well be some sort of carbon fibre. Now, to my knowledge, when it comes to carbon fibre products, if they need to be moulded and structured like this, they do have to be mixed with something else. This definitely has like a slight plasticky feel to it to some degree, but at the same time, it does actually feel quite scratch resistant. We'll give that a go with a knife in a minute. But sadly, this top bit definitely isn't carbon fibre. That just looks like shiny plastic to me. Now, this watch is pretty dark, so I'll just get a little reflector in here so you can see the surface. Now, you can see what I mean about the bottom area. That's not really the concern here. Definitely has the typical slightly mottled look of these carbon fibre hybrid cases. That top bit is really shiny, and that just sounds straight up like plastic to me, so that's a shame. This bezel doesn't actually move either, so yeah, it just seems a shame that they switched the material there. What else have we got? We got a slightly elasticated strap, reasonable for the price. Unusual mechanism here though. So this is a Velcro band where both sides are slotted in and then both sides wrap up. Not often you see that with watches these days. It's usually just a single pass option if they're going to do this, but I guess it does stop the thickness from being increased. They're claiming 50 meters of water resistance here, and I have to say the case back actually doesn't look bad at all. You can see here they've got their own little custom design. Branding actually looks fine on this one for a change. Are those standard spring bars? 100%. I'll go get my spring bar tool. Definitely a bit of give and a bit of movement, but whatever they aren't normal spring bars, so I'm not sure exactly how you get them out. Doesn't have drilled lugs either, so yeah, that's a shame. Does seem like you might be a bit limited, and it also doesn't seem as solid as the likes of the fixed lugs on the Bertucci. Yeah, I really can't get that off. As for the functions, what have we got here? It says we have a light at the top left. What modes have we got? Memory step, it says on the right, so it looks like we may even have some sort of step counter on this. But I think that must be the date there and the day of the week. Stopwatch. Yeah, the pushes feel great actually, really responsive, and the noise isn't too bad either. We've got a timer. What's this? So that counts down from 24 hours, but I'm assuming you can actually probably reset that to whatever time you need. We've got one alarm, a pacer as well. Oh, northeast. Okay. Oh, it does have some semblance of compass functionality in. Not sure how accurate that is, or really how it works. I'm going to be honest. I did used to use compasses back in the day, in the old scouting days. But whenever you use the compass, they look like this. Sadly, the bezel is actually misaligned a little bit, which you're going to have to expect for dirt cheap watches like this. Set up. And we're back. So, yeah, it does seem to have other functions. Let's test that light. Hello? I'll turn the lights out and see if that actually does anything. Oh, okay. So you couldn't see it at all with my lights on, but it's actually pretty good in low light conditions here. It really is. And I also noticed the dots around the end of the screen seem to vary as time goes on. Maybe that's time until the next minute passes. As for that case, let's give this a bit of scratching. I would assume carbon fibre scratches slightly less readily than plastic. Yeah, and I think that is the case. It does remind me of the Luminox cases, which were more scratch resistant than typical plastic. Yeah, it's definitely not terrible. There are marks on the surface there, but not deep grooves. So yeah, I do think that may actually be a reasonable option. Now, the shiny bit on the top will surely not prove as resilient. Let's give that a go. Yeah, that scratches incredibly badly, just as you would expect for a plastic watch. Oh, watch this. That just scratches instantly. Whereas the bit on the side here, it scratches far less readily and even sounds different. So yeah, half this watch is pretty good, really. But I don't know why they couldn't have just finished the job and tried to use a similar material for this bezel, because this is mineral crystal they're claiming? Yeah, they just say here Hardlex, which for AliExpress basically just means it's mineral crystal. Let's just see how readily that scratches, because I can't quite tell. I think it might be mineral crystal. Yeah, definitely mineral crystal. And it's not going to be sapphire, otherwise they'd definitely be claiming that, but doesn't scratch like acrylic, so that's decent enough. And the whole watch is very light. Let's get it on the wrist. Well, we'll measure it first, eh? Not quite as big in person as I expected with this. At the very widest point with those side nodules, about 47.5. Doesn't quite look that big though. If you were just counting the bezel, it must be quite a bit smaller. 45. Maybe it's the lug to lug. 53.7. And it's not the thinnest watch out there. A hair under 12 millimeters. Crystal here is inset within the bezel, so you will scratch the bezel first. So one challenge I've noticed with this type of strap, the ones where you pull it up from both ends, is, well, if you've got a skinny wrist like me, they're going to overlap. You're going to have to stack the straps on top of one another because there's too much excess material. So I guess that's a bit of a downside. If you had to, you could probably repurpose this as a pass-through strap if you needed to, though. And yeah, it is actually very comfortable. These carbon fiber hybrid-like cases always tend to feel quite good against the skin and that. They are hypoallergenic, and they often, temperature-wise, seem to match your skin quite well. So yeah, I think they're like 50% of the way to a good watch. If they could improve that display, or maybe make a positive display, and then fix the bezel or make it out of the same material, I'd probably even pay 5 or 10 quid more for that. And then they'd have a really decent watch on their hands, and yeah, the branding isn't a disaster. Interesting though, always interesting to see new digital contenders, because there isn't a great many. Don't think the watch is hideous, kind of has that smartwatch-like vibe to it, you know, like the Garmin watches. Probably borrowed the design from one of them, who knows. Does seem to have a lot more functions as well than similar Casios in this price range, so you've got to give them that. So yeah, this one's linked below. Let me know what you think in the comments section.